welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Texas Zone 8B9A garden. It is the end of March, and everything is waking up, and it's so gorgeous. I've been doing a lot of the major things around the yard, the fertilizing, the weeding, the pruning, the, post-winter things. Today, I have to finally start getting to the 101 things I never seem to get to. They're more smaller projects, but I need to get those done. It's a lot of plants that need to go into the yard, into the gardens before we continue. But I will give you a closer look at some of the things that have been happening in the yard. These are things I've been growing in the garage just to protect them from the colder nights. But the sunflowers, these are all pro-cut sunflowers, different colors. It's ready for them to go outside. So that's going to be one of my projects. These are petunias. They're okay. I definitely, for some reason, I know I was very careful with the seeds, but apparently I wasn't. Bunches on some and none on others. So I'm going to up pot those and see what I can get. Canterbury Bells, way overdue for getting up potted. I started a few new seeds back here. Cosmos and what was this one again? 4 o'clocks. These 4 o'clock seeds are the ones I took out of my yard last year. I harvested them myself. Anyway, I'm going to clear this off, and it's going to either be planted out or planted up. Back here I have a bunch of scarlet sage and stock, and I believe that's a Rose of Sharon plant that one of the other ones, I thought I planted them all out, but apparently not. And somehow I ended up with a zinnia. Just must have been a seed that blew in there. Over here is an aster mix. Pretty sad. There's maybe one. I'm just going to throw it in the yard and see what happens to it. And this again falls under the 101 things. This is a cutting I took off the Rose of Sharon. It's clearly doing very well. It's one of the purple ones, so I want to plant that out. And this was my experiment of rose bush cuttings from all the roses around the yard. Sadly, that's the only one that seems to have actually survived. I will try it again in the fall. I'll give it another try, might as well. But I'm real happy that one's there. I'm actually going to do an experiment to try to turn that one into a rose tree. So it should be fun. And I put a lot of my seedlings out here to harden them off. The calendula, a lot of it looks pretty good. Some of the colors literally just died, but for the most part, I'm pretty pleased with those. Vitex, this is the seeds I took off of my sister's Vitex. Frankly, they end up being huge plants, so even if one or two do fine, I'm good with that. This is purple aster. One. Here's aster mix. That's doing better. And then periwinkles. Anyway, all of this needs to be planted out into the yard. So that's just the start of the 101 things. And realistically, it's going to take me more than just today. But it's time I got that started. It's time I focused on everything that I planted out, getting it out into the yard. And along the way, I'll show you how wonderful everything is waking up and starting to look gorgeous. Okay, first things first. I'm going to gather everything I've got ready to go out here so I can see it and figure out where I want everything to go. Okay, so this is the 101 things. In addition, I am planting out all of my amaryllis into the garden that will be harvested the first week of September to wax them or plant them for blooms over Christmas. So make that 110 things. Lots of work ahead. No big deal on what I'm using. Some Flower Tone. I don't prefer, this is actually wonderful potting mix, but I have no other soil. Apparently it was used up. My gloves and a shovel. Pretty simple. Let's get to work. I think this is a good spot in the yard for the Rose of Sharon, but we need to start weeding. Turning over the soil, and it will help to pick out the weeds, and also starting with the digging the holes for the plants. I put this brick border here But the Central Texas grasses, man, they just love to invade. All right. And this fence passed its expiration point probably a year or two ago. We definitely need to get that fixed. But we have to talk with the people on the other side. And since I'm on a cul-de-sac, they're not like next door neighbors. You have to go down one street, up one street, over one street, and down another street just to get to them. So I'm going to leave that to my husband. Okay. I'm just pulling out the big weed. This is a cactus. My husband cut a few lobes off of a cactus in the woods and brought it home. Stuck it in the soil. It's actually starting to put out some buds. So I'm going to put that in front over here and put the Rose of Sharon back here. My iPad overheated. It's only March 25th, but it's in the 90s and the sun is brutal. So my son got me one of these nifty sunscreen thingies for the iPad, but it does act like a wind sail at times. So I'm not going to use any special soil or fertilizer for either of these. They are tough plants. They like Texas soil. Nice root system. So they're going to be just fine. Oh, wait, actually, it's a little too deep. Let's get some more in here. And I think this is going to grow and be very happy right here. More grass. Okay. All right. That looks good. And a cactus. I've never transplanted one of these. As I said, when my husband brought it home, I just stuck it in the soil. I'm just curious. Squirrel put an acorn in here. Yeah, it's got a nice little root system going. Okay. And need a little bit more. Do not want this to be buried. You need to just put the soil around it to the level where it's planted right now. When my husband brought it home, I put it in water. And when it started to show a little root system, not much, just a little, I planted it kind of sideways in a pot of soil. And again, no special soil. All right. I think we're good here. And the soil is moist enough. Honestly, I don't even think I'm going to water. Okay, so now on to the Pro-Cut sunflowers. From the first rose bush, I think that's the Soul Sister one, that is my cut garden, my cut flower garden that I planted specifically so I could cut them and bring them into vases. From here over, I just transplanted this lavender. It's not thrilled, but it's surviving, so I'm happy with it. This area used to be, when my first year gardening, 3 years ago, I planted a pumpkin patch, which went Looney Tunes. I got a lot of pumpkins. I think I still have some of the frozen pumpkin puree that I made, but it really did take over the yard. My husband was definitely not happy with it. So mostly what's in here right now is bee balm, or lemon balm, excuse me. Tons of lemon balm. I'm not sure why I have lemon balm on the other side of the yard. I don't ever remember planting it here. I'm going to pull a lot of it, to be honest with you. And then I know there's a sage in here somewhere. I want to be careful I don't take that one out. Okay. And I've got Sweet William. Anyway, the Pro-Cut sunflowers get very tall, like 5 feet tall. And I have them in several different colors in amongst the 101 pots. So this area gets shade in the morning until the afternoon, and then this entire area gets brutal sun until sundown. So it's a good 6-7 hours of direct sun sitting right against the house, brick wall. So it's more than enough light, more than it needs. So I'm not clearing all of this out, as I said. I'm just going to take a few things out. Obviously the grass. And then I'm going to plant the sunflowers along the wall here, from the lavender to the first rose bush. Sadly, I did not keep track of the colors, and I planted 4 different color Pro-Cut sunflower seeds. So another mistake, folks. I will be far more careful to mark them in the future. It's not only a problem with this one, it's with the calendula, it's with everything else. I kept a really good track when they were seedlings, but once I planted them, I thought, oh, I'll remember over here is this and over here is that. Folks, it doesn't work that way. So mark them well. So I'm just going to put them basically where I want them, and then I'll come back and plant them. So as expected, I was distracted yesterday. As soon as I was finished planting the Pro-Cut sunflowers, I came back here on the porch to see what was next and noticed the pots were dry. So I proceeded to water them. Then I noticed the pond was running a little low on water, so I put the hose in there. And then I thought, oh gee, if the pots are dry up here, they're probably dry up front. Remember, we're already in the 90s, brutal sun. So sure enough, went and watered those back there, came back here, and realized the pump to the waterfall was a little too clogged. So on and on and on. Ended up at the end of the day and didn't plant anything else out. So let's get back to it. Day 2. God knows how long this is going to take. So this is my basic plan. When you walk out my back door onto the back porch, this is your view. And then it has this very long fence line. God, at least 50 feet. I mean, it's pretty long. I want tall flowering plants that basically grow up most of this fence, cover most of the fence, and then I'll do lower flowers in the front. But back there, we've got Pride of Barbados. That's going to be huge. 2 rows of Sharons here, a white and a purple from cuttings I took from the ones I have in my front yard. Those are going to be huge. And as we move along, there's my New Mexico hollyhock. Pulled seeds from a gorgeous hollyhock we saw on vacation in New Mexico. And it's growing. And it's looking pretty. That should be pretty large. And then we've got space, some mums. And then right there, we have an Esperanza, which should be rather large. And another one of my New Mexico hollyhocks. And to continue, another New Mexico hollyhock. There were actually a few of them are absolutely gorgeous. Pulled the seeds off. They were green. That's on an earlier video. Planted them anyway, and sure enough, I've got gorgeous plants started. And it looks like I have some ranunculus starting to bloom bud up. So what I'm going for here is almost a Thomas Kinkade mixture of colors and textures and, flowers that are all kind of growing all over each other. I like that mix. Now, there are a few things this year. Again, I've only been gardening 3 years. Seriously. There are a few things I think next year I will plant in drifts where you plant several of the same flowers all together, daffodils being one of them. But for the most part, I like it to be mixed, and I like all of the colors and textures kind of coming together. So I have a lot of scarlet sage that I've grown from seeds. That will get up to 3 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet tall. And then every other, I'll do scarlet sage, and then this is a stock mix. This also grows 3 to 4 feet tall. So along the back of the fence during, where there are those pauses in my plants, I want to do these right up near the fence since they are taller. In front of those, I have a bunch of calendula, a mixture of different colors that I want to alternate colors in front of those, probably midway from the fence, still allowing me room in the front to plant more border style flowers. And I also have quite a few aster mixes, and those also grow pretty tall. So I may alternate the stock and the scarlet sage with these as well. So I'm just going to place these where I believe I want them, and then I'll go back and plant them all. There are tons of weeds growing through here. Some I'm almost certain are seeds that I planted that are starting to come up. So I'm going to be really careful about what I do pull up. In here, I planted more of those pro-cut sunflower seeds in here. I did these from seeds. The other ones I planted inside under the grow lights, which clearly are doing much better, but I can see a few peeking through, so that's good. But the rest of this I'll weed as I plant and as I go along. And I'm just going to alternate. That's air. We'll do this. Because this is the Esperanza, it's going to be large. This hollyhock is going to be large. So those 3 there. We're not in the 90s today, thank goodness. But we are in the upper 80s. In the air, I swear to God, feels like we're trying to breathe underwater. It is so flippin' humid. So I'm just going to move a lot of this away. All of these, well, the lights, obviously when the plants go, but the decorations, I like to mix into, where the flowers are growing. So they're always. will come back to add another irrigation output. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. This is the drip for this plant, but I think here I'm just going to put a mister right in the middle. Obviously during the day that would be useless in Texas, but at night it'll give that area, keep it moist while it's growing. So I think I'm just about finished for the day. I'm really pleased. There's at least 15 feet of the garden that I've taken care of, weeded it, and planted quite a few of the potted plants I had on the porch. So, woo! If you enjoyed my video today, please hit subscribe, like, and share. It helps me to grow my channel. More gardening tomorrow.